Hey YouTube, how's it going, guys? Jared Fuller here. Today is actually Monday, January 22nd, 2018. This is a preempted version of the Sunday video update, which I should have done yesterday, and I got caught up and tied up in other things, and I actually went to bed early in the evening. So this is a preempted version of the Sunday video update, but I can still, keep you guys up to date on what's been going on in my life, how I've been doing. I hope you've all been doing well. And I thank you again for watching this week for another installment of the Sunday video updates. So there's some things to talk about. Yesterday, Sunday, was the last day of the Shrine Circus in Saginaw at the Dow Event Center. I hope you were able to make it to either or both events. The first pit stop would have been Flint, and then they moved to Saginaw. They come to Flint first, and then they go to Saginaw. I hope you were able to make it to the event because all the proceeds benefit the Shriners Hospitals for Children. And you know me, I'm a sucker for charity, and I'll help in any way I can. So I had a wonderful time. I had posted some videos from the Shrine Circus on my YouTube channel. There was the video where I'm walking up the steps onto the arena floor, and when you look out, you see all of the entrapments and everything. Entrapments. Maybe I use that word wrong. The contrapments. Contrapments. Very good. Corrected myself. So you've seen all that. You saw the Shriners where they direct you to your seating and general admission. Of course, I could sit anywhere in the arena that night. And there was like a Wheel of Destiny. You saw the video, and then there was like a Spider-Man performance. And I have one Cancer Warrior brother in particular who loves Spider-Man. His name is Caleb. And so I figured, I should try to get some footage of this. I should try to, record some video, although I'm not supposed to. But it was the only way I could show him. So, it was a good show. I look forward to going every year. I can't wait to go back next year. The coughing that you heard in the background, that's my dad. He seems to be doing better. I mean, it's gotten better. He's had this prominent cough for like the past week. But he seems to be doing okay when he starts drinking some coffee, which after I get done with this, I'm going to make a fresh pot of coffee. Because it's like 5 in the morning or after 5. Let me see here. It is 5:38. So we had that going on. I believe sometime this week, I think Wednesday, it's called Zunder Snowfest. It's in Frankenmuth. It's a really awesome event. If you have never been to a Zunder Snowfest, you're missing out. What it is they take these great big blocks of ice. They are imported from countries that have naturally cold climates. And what they do is they use chainsaws and skill saws. They carve these big blocks of ice into sculptures. And if the weather conditions are favorable here in Michigan, if it's cold enough that the ice and the sculpture image and the shapes will sustain their shape according to the cold temperatures, then it'll be a success. I mean, we've had years prior, where we've had unseasonably mild temperatures, and the smiles on the sculptures turn into frowns. So that's happened. The water drips off the ice, so it's like, oh, you're dribbling, you're drooling, you're dripping a little bit of shaving cream there, man. But it's really cool. We have visitors from all over the world come to Frankenmuth. And not just for Browners, but, yeah, for Zunder Snowfest. I believe it's this week. I believe it starts on Wednesday. I'd have to check my sources, and you can Google that as well. Zunder Snowfest. Zunders is spelled ZEHNDER''S. Zunders Snowfest, and Snowfest is one word. So, that's another event coming up. On February 8th, I will be at the Hurley Children's Hospital in Flint for the 102.5 WIOG Radiothon event. It'll be on the 8th and the 9th. I've been invited to volunteer on the 8th to answer phones, fill out pledge forms, and just kind of, kick it with my friends that I haven't seen in over a year. I'm very well known at the Hurley Children's Hospital for all the work I've done for them, and they have invited me back, and I will have a great time, and it will be an honor and a pleasure to be back and to see everybody again. So yeah, I'll probably be there on both days, just as a spectator. Like after I get done, because they work in 2-hour shifts. So when I'm done doing that, I'll probably, I'll probably just sit and be a spectator and just kind of listen to the different stories. So that's really, I'm looking forward to that very, very much. And as far as other events, I still have some travel plans coming up. I've been invited to Colorado, New York, Florida, Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Louisiana, I believe. And I've also been invited to Tennessee, down to Memphis. So I've been invited to all these different places, and I'm going to have to try to arrange some travel, like methods of travel, to find out if I can get the most cheapest, plane ticket, if I can get a discount on a plane ticket, if I can, travel by train or tour bus. I'll figure out a way to get to all of you. But I can't make any guarantees. I mean, I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to fulfill each and every one of these trips within the year. It may take me this year and some of 2019 to be able to fulfill these destinations. But please don't be discouraged if I don't make it to you this year. I will get to you eventually. Which means I'm going to have to cut back on making bird shirts because, and it's not that I'm going to stop making bird shirts. That's not going to happen. But what I want to do is I want to be able to save up money so I can visit my peeps, as I call them, my peeps, my people who want to see me, because they love me and they know I love them too. And I want to be able to spend time with them and just to chill out and hang and get to know each other better. And mind you, majority of them are Cancer Warrior families. They've invited me to stay in their house. So, yeah, cool. I cannot wait to meet everybody. So, there's quite a bit going on there. So I kind of wanted to save this for last. It is a rant, so if you don't want to listen to the rant, you can just stop the video now. As much as I hate to talk about my opposition in the childhood cancer community, I know a lot of people get fed up with listening to me rant and ramble on about this same issue over and over and over again. But as I used to say in the top 40 music era, the hits just keep on coming, man. So now, the shenanigans that have been going on with my opposition as of late, and mind you, I'm not on Facebook, but things always get back to me surreptitiously. I don't have to be on Facebook to know what the hell's going on. So, I have people who watch and monitor things very, very closely. I don't ask to know about these things. They just tell me. So, and one of the things that I found out recently about my opposition, and I'm not even going to say his name because it's not important, but you'll catch on soon enough. A lot of people know who I'm talking about. I don't even have to say his name. So the recent shenanigan is that he had a prior marijuana conviction. He was caught with over a pound of weed, and that's my dog. And what he did in exchange for his probation, so he could escape the penalties of probation, he used childhood cancer, his little tour thing that he does across America, he used that as a form of community service to escape the penalties of probation. Which, I understand there's got to be some kind of, a whole bunch of legalities involved with that, because if you're doing community service, I don't know how you would even be able to leave the state. But I don't know what the provisions of his punishment were for the community service, so I can't really speak about that. But what I can speak about is someone who is using sick children to escape consequences of breaking the law. Now, my concern really isn't even the fact that he had a pound of weed on him, although anybody who refers to themselves as a representative or a voice for somebody's children, they should have better sense to not do things like that. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. Nobody's perfect. But don't call yourself a leader when you can't even lead by example yourself. So my only thing to that, my only objection is that he's using sick children to avoid and elude the consequences of breaking the law. And then I found out that he went on he got into an argument with one of the momcologists, as we call them in our community. And she presented some legal documents, some court documents. And this is what I've heard. I don't know, I haven't seen anything, but I guess she presented some court documents about his marijuana conviction. Now, okay, so court documents don't lie, obviously. But, and I agree with her, and I agree with people who say, well, how dare you use our sick children to eliminate the consequences of your actions of breaking the law. But there are the people who, also of which, by the way, are watching this video, and they're most likely going to share this on Facebook, like they always do. They try to inject their own negative, sick, twisted context into everything that I say, because they're already mad at me anyway. Their blood boils every time they see my face. But yet they continuously come back to my channel to see what I have to say, which doesn't make sense to me either. But it seems they keep coming back. I'm going to keep talking about it. Anybody who continuously, constantly defends this man, and well, he's not even a man, he's more like a pig. Anybody who defends him, again, you are without excuse, and you're not doing the childhood cancer community any favors. I've also heard that there's people who have said, in spite of all this, or in light of all this, I should say, that, well, he didn't do anything directly to me. Well, let me remind you, for those of you who have ever made this point, let me remind you that the childhood cancer community, we are all in this together. And when one person goes down, and I've even said this, there's been lots of families, lots of other people who have said this, that when one person is affected, we are all affected. We're all a family here. The childhood cancer community is a very collective community. And making these claims that, well, he didn't do anything directly to my child. Well, on an individual basis, no, he may not have done anything directly to your child. But on a collective community basis, he certainly has done something to your children. He has used your child's ailment as a way to escape penalty for his marijuana possession, for breaking the law, which he has done something to your child. And I find this absolutely bizarre that so many people, especially the parents of these warriors, they continuously ad nauseum. They continuously defend him. Every time he has a little snot, they wipe his nose. They back him up on everything. Oh, Mr. Wonderful, this, that, and the other. Please, he is not wonderful. And it's time that you people had woke up to this. Why must you continuously defend a guy who is such a disgusting, narcissistic pig, and he panders down to the people? And this is something else I wanted to talk about too. Is he actually went off? He had written a post on Facebook. Everything gets back to me. I don't have to be there to know. He had written a post on Facebook about, oh, well, you know, it's so hard being an advocate. Bullshit. Why don't you try being in the position of a parent whose child had actually went through that? Better yet, why don't you be in my position, someone who survived it? Someone who could tell you things about childhood cancer that would make the hair on the back of your neck stand up on end. But of course, this post that he had written about, oh, the savagery of being an advocate for childhood cancer. My ass. The only savage in this community is you. And he's getting the approval and the hearts and the likes, the thumbs up and the hearts, all these love emojis and all this other crap. He's getting this from the people of which he's already gotten their approval. They cannot see the forest for the trees. It's like, it reminds me of a cult. And while I do understand that that his little fleet of cockroaches are going to share this video, and like I said, they're going to inject their own negative context into this to make it look like I'm the bad guy because I spoke up about something, and oh, Jared Fuller's dwelling on my past. You're damn right I am, because you're using sick children to escape the consequences of your penalties, and or of your actions rather. And there's people out there who think that is perfectly fine. They think it's okay, and I don't understand why that is. I personally have a problem with it, and anybody who doesn't, well, you know, he did his time, you know, leave him alone. I'm sorry. He didn't do any kind of time. You know, the time that he did was enjoying a paid vacation on your dollar. Which is something else that was brought up too. I love it. You know, the old Jared would have been going door to door, so to speak, and saying, hey, watch out for this guy because he's hurting people, you know, taking advantage of people. Now the new Jared just kind of sits back because he doesn't have Facebook anymore. So now I just kind of sit back and let the people observe all of this nonsense on their own. As much as I love those people, I love those families, most of them have woken up, and it didn't take for me to tell them. They pretty much discovered this on their own. And so now I'm just kind of sitting back, and I'm letting it all unravel. Because the people are finding out about him. And I didn't even have to say a word. But, you know, I'm talking about it now because, as an advocate myself, these are the kind of things that affect the community of which I represent. I wouldn't have said anything had it not been an issue. But we have this individual who has... There's just so many red flags with him. And I am absolutely appalled and disgusted at the fact that so many people continuously make excuses for him. All of you people who make excuses for him, or try to, by default, you're without excuse, because the truth always comes out. There's always that prevalent truth. You know, that you want to preach to everybody, but you can't handle it when you're presented with it, that kind of thing. It's so bizarre to me that people will defend a guy who knowingly and even admits that he has done something wrong, and how dare anybody dwell on my past? So now he's engaging in a pity party to seek the approval and the nose wiping of his little band of heathens who they're just ignorant about what's really going on. And mind you, and I refer to them as a band of heathens because majority of them are not directly affected by childhood cancer at all. And they just follow a guy who supposedly is doing really good things for the kids. No, he's not. He's trying to make himself look like some kind of a hero. He's trying to champion himself by saying, oh, I had Christmas lights for the kids. Oh, I've done this and I've done that and blah, blah, blah for the kids. So you're doing this for the glory. Which is also something else that he does not like. He doesn't like it when people challenge him or question him on anything, especially when he's using childhood cancer to glorify himself and to bolster his popularity. Because God knows he was nothing, and in my world, he is nothing. He's a bum who leeches and takes advantage of people. So, but I just had to share that little bit of information with all of you because it is just so, it smacks of so much irony. I just cannot believe that, I mean, just when you think that he cannot possibly stoop to a new low, he in fact does. He proves me wrong. And like I said, it always gets back to me. And he can go on Facebook and write about how much that Jared Fuller is being such a bully and he's bashing an advocate. Get a grip. You're not an advocate. You have to qualify, first of all. And second of all, it's not bullying when I'm speaking about the truth. I'm reflecting what, I mean, it's not just one person saying it. It's a whole bunch of people who have come to me and said this over the weekend, actually, over the course of 24 to 36 hours. I've had people calling me and texting me and emailing me saying, yeah, you know, he's got himself in a whole new tissue of turmoil and drama. So it's like, yay, and the people are starting to wake up more. It's about time. I don't get joys out of talking about fraudulent people. I don't. Although I am glad when I hear about people who wake up to them. And they say, man, how could I have been so fooled into thinking that this guy actually was doing something right. He showed that he cared for my children. I'm sorry that he has disappointed all of you. He's not going to apologize for anything. He won't. He's not going to apologize for anything because, like most people do who live in denial, they don't admit to anything. They think, oh, well, how are you going to bring up somebody's past? So more or less, he admitted to his wrongdoing and then had the gumption to say, well, you know what? They prescribed this for they prescribe that for children all the time, the kids with cancer. I mean, really, that is the one thing that ticks me off more than anything. It's another way to couch you're trying to justify breaking the law by saying, well, you know what? They prescribe weed for kids, or they, the cannabis oil for the children. You coward. You piece of garbage. And like I said, it'll get shared around on Facebook. This very video will be shared on Facebook, and bet your asses they're going to be putting a negative spin on this to try to make it look like Jared Fuller is attacking and bashing somebody. Well, okay, cool. I am. Because people like him deserve to be bashed and attacked. When he's using sick children to mask his illegal behavior. Why should anybody not talk about that? It's not slander. If it's true, it's not slander. So, and all these people, oh yeah, that's something else. All these people who, they would come on my old Facebook page when I had a page you could follow. They would all come on there and say, oh, you're going to get sued for slander and blah, blah. Get the hell out of here and just leave me alone. It's not slander if it's true. And I can go on all day long saying how much of an idiot and a moron and a fool that he is. But I really don't want to. I've got better things to do. I still got to make a pot of coffee for my dad and Amy when they get out of bed. So I can't very well sit here and talk about people who are just disgusting and vile. You know, I'm not going to do it. But anyway, I wanted to get that out of the way. I just figured that all of you might like to know this. And I noticed that my subscription number on my YouTube channel is going up, so I don't know if it's actually people that I know or just people from that group who are subscribed to my channel just to watch me and to keep a watchful eye on Jared Fuller and listen to what he has to say. Because anything he says, I'm going to go back and tell him, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not the one with the marijuana conviction. Sorry. And, you know, and that's going to get taken out of context, too. So now Jared thinks he's better than everybody because he doesn't have any prior convictions or he's never been in jail. Or no, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. But what I am saying is I wouldn't stoop so low and be such a disgusting, vindictive pig as to use a debilitating disease to escape the penalties of breaking the law. That's what I'm saying. And you can disagree with that all you want, and I really don't care. But you know what? If it was your child he was doing this to, you would be saying and feeling the exact same way. And you can't deny that. If that was me using your kid, okay, well, I want to help a child to escape my penalties or my punishments for doing something I know I shouldn't have done. And I'm going to use your sick kid to elevate my popularity status because I don't want people thinking I'm, you know, I can break the law, but that's okay because nobody's going to care because I'm doing all these wonderful, terrific things for people that they're not going to care about none of that. Well, I'm not that kind of a person. That's him. That's not me. And quite frankly, that should be a first clue right there. That's as definitive as it gets. Because he used childhood cancer to escape the penalties of his marijuana possession, that should be the definitive. That should be the nail in the coffin for his so-called advocacy, because he really does not care about your children in that case. Stands to reason, doesn't it? I could very well, if I was as low and degrading and disgusting as he is, I could very well go and say, well, you know what? I'll use this as community service so I don't have to face the consequences for doing something I know I shouldn't have been doing. I'll just use sick children to avoid that, and you know, I can prop myself up to be this wonderful champion and this hero of the pediatric cancer community. Which, by the way, you're doing it for the glory. You're not doing it for the kids. It's not hard to figure out, guys. It's not hard to figure out. It's not hard to piece the puzzle together. And the more and more and more that you find out about him, the more and more disgusted you should be. But anyway, I've gone on with this long enough. So what I'm going to do is check the time. It is just now after 6 o'clock. I've been here for about a half an hour. I figured I wasn't going to be on here too long, but there's really not much else to talk about. I went to, it's called a Wild Game Feast. I was there at the Trinity Church in Chesaning, which was on Saturday. I was there Saturday with Dad and Amy and Anthony from next door, my stepdad Jimmy. And they had catfish, you know, we were talking about catfish. And my dad and this other gentleman who was sitting with us, they were talking about dogfish, catfish. And I made the joke. I said, well, you know the bait that we use to catch catfish, right? No, we use Meow Mix. And he just, oh, I get it. Yeah, you get it now. Come on, you get it. But it was pretty good. I've never had antelope meatloaf before. It was different. Then they had a mystery meat, and the mystery meat that they had was raccoon. So, yeah, it was pretty good. It was different. I don't typically eat antelope on a daily, but it wasn't bad. It actually tasted pretty good. We had squirrel. Squirrel's pretty good. Yeah, just a whole bunch of wild game. It was pretty good. But anyway, I think I pretty much covered everything. Oh, I was out in Kentwood yesterday. It's a suburb of Grand Rapids. I just went on a ride, and I just wanted to get away for a few hours and just, because when I go on joyrides, I just drive random places. There's no one place that I, choose to go, although sometimes, majority of the time, I end up in Lansing or I go to Flint, or I even go up to Saginaw or Bay City or somewhere around there. But I ended up in Kentwood, which is it's a suburb of Grand Rapids. It's an upscale neighborhood of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And so the way I took, because to give a description, because majority of you who watch this may be from Michigan, or you just don't know Michigan well, and I'll just kind of give you the ideal route of the way I took. So M57, which is just a mile from here, from where I live. It's just the next mile over. So I went M57 to Hemlock Road south, all the way to Juddville Road west to Carland Road south to M21 west through Ovid to US 127, 127 south to almost Lansing, I-69 west to I-96 west, and then Grand Rapids would be like the next 54 miles out on I-96. So then I got off on M6, which takes you out to Holland. So I went M6 and I went, I believe, west. And there were two exits into Kentwood. The first exit was M37, and then the second exit was Kalamazoo Avenue. I took Kalamazoo Avenue, went north into town, and I think I eventually ended up in Grand Rapids, because I think I saw the sign that said "Welcome to Grand Rapids." So Kentwood it's a nice little town. It is more, like I said, it's an upscale neighborhood of Grand Rapids. I just needed to get away for a few hours. It took me $30 in gas to get there and back. So now I am officially broke for the next, I want to say, 11, 12 days. Well, until the 1st of February, which would be 10 days. Because today's the 22nd, and the 1st of February will be in 10 days. So yeah, I'm broke. This is where I sit for the next 10 days until I get my check, and then I'll be doing my thing next month. And I'm really looking forward to being at the Radiothon event for Hurley. I've been there a couple years in a row, and it's been fun. It's been really nice. I look forward to attending more charity events for the Warriors, and I just want to be a part of whatever's going on in the childhood cancer community, and I want to show my love and support, and just to show people that I care, and that us Warriors have to stick together always. It's our credo. And there is a lot of, there's just a lot of division in the childhood cancer community. So much division. And most, if not all of it, can easily be traced back to my opposition. The one guy who is causing so much problems for the families. I mean, there's always drama surrounding him. He's always warning people about me, or saying, well, block me, or you know, that Jared Fuller is this and that and the other. Jared Fuller speaks truth, which is one thing he won't bellyache about, because you know, because he knows it's true and he's not going to admit when he's wrong. But he is, and he will try to deflect us back on me by saying, well, Jared is the one who's causing all the division in the childhood cancer community. No, I'm not the one who's going out there lying to everybody, saying that you're this wonderful human being. But I am just, I'm absolutely just, I'm blown away at how so many people continuously defend him, knowing the kind of person he is, knowing what he's up to. Even when he admits to doing things, they still defend him and make excuses for him. Why? What is it with you people? Are you this incredibly brainwashed to where now suddenly it's okay to be using sick children to elude responsibility for your actions? What the hell kind of a world do you live in? What kind of society are you a part of? Because you sure as hell aren't a part of mine. I would expect people to use both sides of their brains and say, hey, that's not right. You are using my children to escape the responsibility of, you know, if you did something wrong and you know you've done something wrong, take it like a man. Don't be using my kid to avoid the responsibility. I was even told that he owes back child support, which I also find to be just monumentally insane. Because if he owes back child support and he's a tax evader, but I mean, if he owes back child support, how could he give a damn so much about everybody else's kids and not his own? So he abandoned his own children to worry about everybody else's children? Really? I mean, I really don't even know how true the whole child support thing is, or the tax evasion thing, and I really probably shouldn't even mention it. But I have no doubt. I mean, like I said, just when you think he cannot do anything more slovenly and disgusting, he proves all of us wrong. There's always something new that comes out. And well, you can't dig up all this dirt on me. Well, we've already done that. It's already been established. You can't deny what's already been established. You can't not know what you already know. Sorry. But, guys, I don't like to rant like that, and I don't take pride in talking about people. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel good knowing that there are people like this in the childhood cancer community. I don't take pride in that. I am not proud of the fact that there are people doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They get caught up in bad situations, and they use children to scapegoat their way out of that bad situation. I can't level with that. I cannot come to grips with this idea that it's okay to use sick children to avoid and escape and elude penalties and punishments for a crime you've committed. Okay, fine. So he was caught with a pound of weed. And I also heard that he was in trouble for a DUI or something. I don't know. But even still, it's not so much the fact that, you know, there's a lot of people who even say, oh, well, all these people want to use this drunken stoner as a representative or as a voice to advocate for my child. There's a lot of people who have something against that, and that's entirely up to them. Everybody makes mistakes, but my thing is, this is no mistake. is that now you're using sick children to, I mean, it's one thing to say, well, you know, they prescribed this for kids, so why would you have a problem with me having it? It's really disgusting. That's one thing to say something like that. You're using children as a crutch to justify breaking the law, which I also think is immoral. But then it's another thing to then come out and say, well, you know, people like to dig up the past on me. I don't see why it's such a problem for me to help kids, because you're using it to escape your punishment, and I just think it's wrong. But the division, most of it, can be traced or drawn back to him. Single-handedly, he divides families. And, you know, while I'm right here, and while I'm on that subject, I want to open my email address up to anybody who wants to have an open discussion with me. If you're going to email me to be nasty and stupid, don't bother, because you will be blocked and you won't ever email me again. But my email address can be found in the About tab of my YouTube channel. If you are one of these parents who have an objection to what my opposition is doing with the marijuana convictions, or anything, it doesn't necessarily have to be that one particular topic. We can talk about anything you want to talk about, because chances are, because I've had bad experiences with them, you've had bad experiences with them. Let's talk. Talk to me about this. Let's have discussions. I encourage you to reach out to me. Now, there's not many people who will use YouTube. We'll set Facebook. There's not very many people who will use YouTube as a platform to speak out against somebody who is being absolutely appalling and disgusting. But I will. I'm willing to take a beating if it means being a voice for the warriors, for the families, for the people who really and truly matter to me. And all this attitude and this nonsense about, well, you know, Jared can't possibly love and care about you. He doesn't even know you. How do you know that I can't have a certain feeling towards a family who's been affected by the same kind of a monster? Who are you to tell me that I can't be open and understanding and loving and caring to people who are going through similar situations? And the sad thing is that a lot of the people that I used to talk to who are, in fact, families of, the childhood cancer families who were directly affected, they defend him. They will continuously, at every turn, defend him. I don't understand how one person can get inside the minds of so many other people. Again, it's just like a Charles Manson thing all over again. It's like a cult within the childhood cancer community. And people like that need to be removed and extinguished from the community immediately. We don't need people like that. But I invite all of you who have been affected by this particular individual to email me. Like I said, my email address is in my About tab on my YouTube channel. You'll probably have to answer a few questions just to verify that you're not a robot. And then when you click on submit, you'll see like a green check mark, and then you'll see my email address. But if you're going to email me just to be nasty and to shoot off at the mouth, don't bother. Because I'm not going to listen to it. But if you are honestly open and willing enough to have a conversation with me through email, please do. Let's have a talk. And maybe we can, we can share ideas and I'm not trying to, let me see if I can explain this. I'm not trying to recruit a gang, or I'm not trying to recruit members of a particular who he is. I'm an advocate. I'm a real advocate of childhood cancer. I want to help people. There's no ulterior motive. There's no hidden agenda. I'm just a person who understands childhood cancer. That's it. I've been through this. I've lived it. I have breathed it. And on March 2nd, I'm coming up on the 29th anniversary of my diagnosis with Wilms tumor. 29 years. I mean, I have been through things that I never imagined I would ever have to go through in my life. But I've been through it. And the whole point of me becoming an advocate for childhood cancer was not to fight. It was not to be competitive with other people. Because when I entered into the childhood cancer community, the whole thought of competition or being competitive with other advocates, it never one time crossed my mind. I had I didn't think that childhood cancer advocacy was made into a competitive blood sport. I don't understand why anybody would make this into some kind of a witch hunt or some kind of a pissing contest. I don't understand why that is. I would have never imagined it to be as crappy as it is, with certain people who try to make this about themselves. They don't care about anything else but making themselves look good. And making themselves look like some kind of a shining beacon for childhood cancer. They don't care about your kids. They just care about making themselves look good. Not me. I don't care if I look good in front of a bunch of people, a fickle public. I don't care. The only thing I care about is sharing my story of survival, sharing all the things I've been through to give people hope, to inspire people, and to invite people to reach out to me when they need somebody to talk to. Someone who actually gets it. Someone who understands this stuff. I'm not a person who will blackmail. I'm not a person who will take money. I don't take money from people. I'm not a person who has to make up a bunch of bullshit stories just to get in good with you. I don't have to lie about anything because there's nothing to hide. I have been totally and completely honest with all of you. And if you still are convinced that I have not been honest with you, then I invite you to email me anyway. But if you're going to be nasty, don't bother. Because I really and truly want to help people. I'm not here to fight with people. And in spite of the fact that you're going to see and hear things about me on Facebook, I promise you, as sure as there are stars in the sky, as long as the sun and the earth are in orbit, I promise you, none of those things are true. And even if they say, well, I've read all of the things that you've written, really? So, okay, so now what I'm going to ask of you, it seems that you're making the claim, you have to demonstrate it. Where's your evidence that I said anything inappropriate? And in what context do you think that I said it? Because I got to tell you, I was on Facebook for 7 years, and not one time have I ever said anything inappropriate to any child. Oh, I say the word sweetheart. Okay? My 3-year-old niece who comes over here to see me, I call her sweetheart all the time. I have nieces who are in their 20s, in their late teens and 20s. I call them sweetheart. Actually, they're in their 20s now, actually. I call them sweetheart and honey boo all the time. It's just a term of endearment. There's kids out there that call me Jer Bear, which I prefer that because that's my nickname. But I earned that nickname from my cancer battle. I just can't believe I have to repeatedly, constantly explain simple logic to people. These are people who refuse to accept truth for what it is. They refuse to see things for what they are, that they have to lie and they have to jump on bandwagons. They have to do everything in their power just to retaliate against me. And why should anybody listen to Jared Fuller now? Because Jared Fuller has pretty much burned a lot of bridges with people. Maybe to them. I burn bridges. Maybe to them I burn some bridges because they can't think for themselves. They don't know any better. They're just ignorant. And it's always deflected as me being a jerk or some kind of major prick to a bunch of people, which I'm not. But I get so easily frustrated and upset with people who do not understand what's going on. Or they want to assume things that they want to assume that I'm this bad person. I get so frustrated and angry about that. There's no two ways about that. It would upset you. It would upset you if someone was making negative claims about you that weren't true. And with Facebook, you can perpetuate that hate. And I'm glad that I'm not there anymore to have to put up with that. It's just, I was even telling my dad, some days I feel like, I'm glad that I have the kind of heart where I love and care about people and I want to help people. But most days it feels like a damn curse because I wear my heart on my sleeve and people know that and they take advantage. They know that I care enough about people to want to help people. And sure, at times I slip a few swear words once in a while. Who cares? I don't know of anybody who doesn't use profane language, but it doesn't mean that I'm a nasty person. There's a lot of people, good-hearted people in the world who love with every fiber of their being. They love. They have this wonderful capacity to love people. In spite of the ignorance, they love people. But for me, from where I sit, it is so incredibly unbearable to watch the people that you have loved and cared about for so long turn on you and praise somebody who has been absolutely dishonest in pursuing advocacy. He's not an advocate. He's not. Because there is no advocate on the face of this planet who would ever be so ignorant to say something like, well, how much money should parents get in fundraisers if the treatment options for their children have been exhausted? What kind of moron says something like that? You would never in a million years, I don't care what you advocate for, you would not say something so incredibly appalling and stupid and then not expect people that you're supposed to be advocating for these people, but then expect them to not be upset when you come out with something so foolish. I would have never in my life said something so incredibly disgusting. There's just no way. Now, the people who are mad at me right now, they're frustrated with me. There's nothing I can do. They hate my guts or whatever. Fine. They have ill will against me. Fine. There's nothing I can do. But just as long as I know that when the time comes, and I have a feeling it's going to, and if they're watching this video, whether it's shared on Facebook or if they just visit my YouTube channel casually and they're listening to this, if you are one of those parents who was brainwashed and deceived by my opposition, again, my email address is in the About tab section of my channel. I invite you to email me so we can have a conversation. Because this is serious. The fact that, okay, so you had a marijuana conviction, big deal. Well, okay, cool. But it's really not, that's not really what I'm concerned about. Now, if he had a child in his truck during this marijuana conviction, then I would have an issue. If he was by himself and he's doing harm to himself or putting other people's lives in danger, being on being behind the wheel, and he's putting other people in danger, I would have a problem with that too. I don't know, guys. I haven't stopped advocating for childhood cancer. I haven't stopped and I'll never stop. There's people out there who still love me. There's people out there who still need me. And I'm there for them as much as I can be. There's people that I haven't spoken to in probably a month or longer because they have other personal issues going on in their lives, and they will respond to me when they get the time to respond. I'm not looking for any set time frame where they have to talk to me. Every so often I'll text them and say, hey, how are we doing? How's life treating you? And they may respond with, a simple text, a brief text or a brief message. That's fine. Or a brief email even. That's fine. But they know that I love them enough to want to check up on them. And I say, how's life treating you? Even if they don't respond, I still love them. It has nothing to do with me being well, Jared just loves the attention too. No, I don't. Actually, I'm not doing this for the attention. I do what I do because I am a very unique individual. And I just happen to tell it like it is. And there's people who, like I said, they're now against me. They can't handle anything I have to say because they know that it rings truth. They know that there is this entire plethora of truth behind everything I say. And I understand how delicate childhood cancer is. I totally get it. That's why I advocate for funding and research. That's why I raise awareness to this. Because of how sensitive and delicate it is. Because I've been through it. And my opposition, who has not been through it, and he wants to make claims that he knows what it's like when clearly he doesn't. And which, by the way, we still don't know who the supposed child was who died from cancer. We don't even know the name of his friend, because I put him to the test on this, and I said, well, what's the name of your friend? What's the name of the child who passed away? Well, that's irrelevant, he says. So are you avoiding my question? Or are you really just, being a jerk? But I guess that kind of goes hand in hand. But he avoided my question each and every time when I asked him, what's the name of your friend? Well, that doesn't matter. Well, it certainly does matter, because if you made a promise, and this is the alibi he gives, if you made a promise to someone's child that you were going to raise awareness to childhood cancer, I bet you that child's parents is absolutely ashamed. And now with this new bit of news coming out about his marijuana conviction, and now he's using pediatric cancer advocacy as a trade-off for his probation, that should be definitive to anybody and the likes that, you know what, maybe this other child doesn't exist at all, and we've been right the whole time. That the supposed friend doesn't exist, and we've been right the entire time. He continuously digs himself a very deep, colossal hole. And now I'm just going to be the guy who sits here and crosses his arms and says, you know what? Keep digging, buddy, because you're going down like quicksand. People are finding out about you more and more every day. You have deceived so many people, and all these people who continue to follow in spite of all this, they're just idiots. They are the sheep in which they drink out of the river of deceit that he has dug. He has entrenched. And I don't know how one person can have so much mind control over a group of people. I just don't understand it. I don't know. I wish I could get into the brains of some of these people. As Judge Marilyn Millian once said, I need for all of your brain cells to hold hands right now and get with the program, because it just does not make sense to me. It doesn't. I don't know what goes through people's minds. A part of me wants to know, but then a part of me doesn't want to know, because I'm not intrusive. I don't like to invade people's privacy, but some days it's like, what the hell are you people thinking here? How can you be okay with this? Wow. But anyway, I have gone on much too long about that. So it's 25 to 7, and I've been here for about an hour. So yeah, I've got some events coming up. I have, well, in February. And in April, how could I have forgotten this? April 14th is the ABC 12 Family Expo. Yay! I don't know who's going to be headlining it this year. I haven't received word. But it's going to be in Bertrand, the same place as it's been for the past, I don't know, 5-6 years, something like that. But they changed the name of the Bertrand Expo Center to, let me see if I can get this right, the Frankenmuth Credit Union Event Center. It's a mouthful to say. So April 14th, for those of my local friends who are watching this, mark your calendars, put a great big red circle around the 14th, the ABC 12 Family Expo. I will be there. I don't know who the headliners are going to be, but it is going to be a wonderful time, and I am looking forward to that too. There's a lot of plans coming up this year in 2018, and I hope I can continue to stay on top of what's going on and just be a part of all the fun events and things going on. But yes, ABC 12 Family Expo, April 14th. Be there or be square. Well, if you live in Michigan, you know. But anyway, guys, I'm going to let you go. I've been here for about an hour. Thank you so much for watching this preempted version of the Sunday video update. I'm sorry if the ranting had made your eyes glaze over with boredom. But it's just something that was very important to me. And much like the childhood cancer community and all of you who watch every day, or every week rather, and you have subscribed to my YouTube channel, you are important to me too. Much love and peace.